Several PKR student wing leaders have announced that they have lost confidence in Anwar Ibrahim and has quit the party. Meanwhile, a DAP MP has told the government to stop keeping Malaysians in the dark over the proposed RON95 fuel subsidy reform. All this and more on KiniNews. 8 Central Leadership Council members of PKR's student wing, Mahasiswa Keadilan Malaysia, have announced that they have quit the party. In a press conference last night, Erfan Zur Nuqman, the wing's chairperson, cited a loss of confidence in party president Anwar Ibrahim in his capacity as Prime Minister.
Jadi daripada perancangan awalnya, 8 orang daripada ahli majlis pimpinan pusat, daripada 15 yang menang, ini tidak termasuk yang dilantik pada awalnya itu, telah menyatakan persetujuan untuk meletakkan jawatan akhirnya pada malam ini atas sebab kehilangannya kepercayaan kepada parti kita, Parti Keadilan Rakyat.
Ram added that with the resignation of the 8 leaders, the MKM Central Leadership Council has been officially dissolved and a new election must be held through a special general meeting. Explaining their decision to resign, Ram said PKR is no longer the reformist party once trusted by the youth. He listed 6 issues behind their loss of confidence in Anwar's leadership. Among the concerns raised were the alleged existence of a corporate mafia, the shareholding controversy involving outgoing MACC Chief Commissioner Azam Baki, pressure against government critics, failures in media freedom, and disputes surrounding the party election. Ram claimed that PKR and Anwar had failed to address the issues raised. He added that they imagine these problems will continue if there is no movement pushing the PKR leadership to do something.
Still on PKR, Sia Junpei, a research officer who works for Petaling Jaya MP Lee Chen Chong, has warned that the party risks repeating BN's past mistakes if it fails to recognize the validity of criticisms leveled at the government. This was in response to PKR Deputy Secretary General Brian Ng's dismissal of Lee's concerns that Petaling Jaya is no longer a safe seat for Pakatan Harapan.
In a statement today, she reminded PKR that voters would not hesitate to withdraw the mandate they had given to the party should they deem it had not fulfilled its pledges. She said the people of Petaling Jaya and Malaysia are assessing whether the government of today is truly fulfilling its promises or is simply playing politics to maintain power. Defending Lee's assessment, Sia said the former's remarks had come from an analysis of feedback gathered from voters. She also said that PKR and Harapan supporters are rational voters who prioritize reforms but are getting disillusioned by the lack of action to implement them. She stressed that if a representative dares to voice the real concerns shared by the people, their input should be used as a basis for reflection and not as a target for attack. As such, she called for criticisms to be directed at government leaders who failed to listen to voters instead of criticizing Lee, who had merely relayed sentiments from the ground. In a recent interview with Malaysia Kini's Chinese language podcast, Lee said that despite being a highly urbanized constituency in Selangor, Petaling Jaya can no longer be regarded as a safe seat for PKR. Lee's remarks drew brickbats from Ng, who said that the PKR MP's concerns reflected his own alleged shortcomings and poor performance as a lawmaker, adding that Petaling Jaya remains a party stronghold. From now on, you can also listen to KiniNews on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Scan the QR code on the screen to follow us.
Kepong MP Lim Lip Eng has told the government that income bracket labels do not necessarily reflect a person's actual financial circumstances. This was in response to the proposed RON95 fuel subsidy reform.
In a statement, Lim called on the government to clearly explain the mechanism, including who will be affected, how income will be assessed, and whether factors such as household burden, living costs, dependents, loans, and daily travel needs will be considered. He said the government must not make the mistake of looking only at income while ignoring real-life expenses. He stressed that high income does not mean rich, and a household above the national T20 line may still struggle badly in Kuala Lumpur, Selangor, and the Klang Valley after paying for housing, car loans, children's education, insurance, elderly parents, and daily living costs. He said they are not millionaires. They are ordinary middle-class families working hard just to keep their heads above water. Lim also warned that the middle-class families just above the eligibility line could become the biggest victims of the policy, despite already struggling with high taxes, rising living costs, housing pressure, and education expenses. He added that the government should not turn the middle class into its ATM. He also questioned whether the subsidy cut would be based on individual or household income, and whether the government would take into account location, family size, elderly dependents, housing and car loans, and commuting distance. He stated that the policy should not proceed until these questions are answered clearly.
Bersatu Youth has condemned remarks by outgoing MACC Chief Commissioner Azam Baki, who had mocked critics of the agency by describing them as problematic and depressed. In a statement, its Communications and New Media Department Director, Naim Brundage, said Azam's remarks were unprofessional and insensitive.
He added that such comments were unbecoming of the head of a national enforcement agency. He also urged Azam to retract his remarks immediately and issue a public apology to Malaysians. Naim also expressed concern over what he described as attempts by Azam to portray critics of the MACC as individuals with vested interests, warning that such a narrative could be seen as an effort to belittle critical voices against the Commission. Meanwhile, Muda Deputy Treasurer General Rashifa Al-Junaid cautioned Azam against mistaking silence for support. In a statement, she said that many are reluctant to speak out against him and the MACC due to fear of weaponized investigations. She stressed on the rights of Malaysians to question MACC's integrity and accused the agency of failing to act independently and consistently in high-profile cases involving political interests. Yesterday, Azam had said that those who hold demonstrations outside the MACC headquarters in Putrajaya are plagued by problems of their own, whether in the form of emotional issues or legal matters. He said this in a podcast when asked for his thoughts on those who had supposedly attempted to destabilize the MACC by issuing criticisms, holding protests, and filing police reports.
If you like the stories we produce, consider supporting us by subscribing to Malaysia Kini. Click the link in the description below or scan the QR code on your screen to subscribe.
Putra has called on the government to introduce a new law that imposes strict action against individuals found disrespecting the Malay rulers. Its president, Ibrahim Ali, said the law is necessary to defend the sanctity of the royal institution.
In a statement, Ibrahim proposed powers similar to the repealed Internal Security Act or ISA. He said it should allow a senior police officer to detain anyone who insults, mocks or questions the decree of the Yang di-Pertuan Agong or any of the Malay rulers for 14 days without a warrant and can keep them for 2 years without trial. He added that it should also allow suspects to be charged as committing a serious offense and face mandatory imprisonment and whipping. Ibrahim further suggested that the law provides authority for a quick action in dealing with digital contents that insults the royal institution. However, the former Pasir Mas MP said the law must be crafted fairly, where it differentiates proper academic discussion from insult. He said discussions such as legal opinion, comments on policy, and academic debates that are done decently should not be punished. Ibrahim argued the law is needed because insults against the royal institution are becoming more bold, harsh, and disrespectful, especially online. He claims some people mock royal decrees, make excessive sarcastic remarks, manipulate images, spread slander, and some hide behind the banner of freedom of speech to demean the nation's highest institution. He stressed that if this culture is not curbed immediately, it will become a cancer that erodes the people's sense of decorum and could spark racial conflict.
And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to kinitv.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, X, YouTube, and Facebook for the latest news updates. I'm John. Thanks for watching.